I'm on a 3-week road trip in the US West Coast, and there are some pretty strange things to see out here. Today I'm gonna show you some of the most unusual tourist attractions in Nevada and California. Joshua Tree isn't all that unusual. However, just 11 miles west of here, there's a pretty strange place that I wanna check out. Pioneertown was founded in 1946 as a living, breathing movie set. It's a fully functioning 1880s town that's been used as a film set, a vacation spot, and as permanent residence for many people. The main street in Pioneertown is called Main Street, as in horse mane. I get a feeling that the founders of this place are pretty goofy, but there's no denying that they've created something pretty unique. Now that is a big bird. I'm not putting my hand anywhere near that. I've seen Wild West towns in Sweden and on Gran Canaria, but this is the only one where people actually live. Even if I have to say that it's pretty dead right now, but that's because it's really early in the morning. The place really has a solid and authentic feeling. The buildings feel real. It really is like a living, breathing movie set. The Spruce Street Suspension Bridge in San Diego was built in 1912, and it's quite beloved by locals and tourists alike. And it's a bit of a weird hidden gem in the city. I have to say that it's a little bit scary to walk up here. It's a long way to the ground. But it's also quite amazing to see something so unusual and unexpected in the middle of San Diego. You might have to take a bus to get here, but it's definitely worth the detour just to see this amazing bridge. Tivoli Bar Grill is the oldest bar in the Gaslights quarters of San Diego. It opened as a saloon in 1885, and it has a remarkable history. But if you want to see something really special, then you need to go to the bathroom. There's a urinal here that Mick Jagger apparently pissed in back in 2005. I'd say that qualifies as pretty unusual. The Whaley House in San Diego Old Town has been called the most haunted house in America. It was built in 1856, and it's one of the most historic buildings in San Diego. It's also haunted by the Whaley family members who have died in the house and other people who have been hanged on the site. Maybe their spirits are gathering around me now as I speak. I probably shouldn't look behind me. I ain't afraid no ghost, but I'm still gonna go away from this house just in case. Sonny Jim's Sea Cave was dug out in 1902 to connect the cave store with the sea below. It's rumored that the cave was used by bootleggers during the Prohibition as well. Either way, it's quite an unusual tourist attraction if you're in San Diego. Close to Los Angeles and San Diego, you can find Cabazon Dinosaurs, a roadside attraction with the biggest dinosaurs in the world. This place opened in the mid-1960s, and the dinosaurs featured in the movie Pee-wee's Big Adventure. The big steel dinosaurs were created by the sculptor Claude Bell, but when Bell died in 1988, this place fell into more nefarious hands. In the 2000s, this place was turned into a creationist museum, but thankfully all traces of that are gone by now. This place is still owned by creationists as I understand it, but they've stopped with the anti-science propaganda since 2017. To be honest, I would have loved to see a creationist museum as well, just for the weirdness of it. But I'm still very happy with just these magnificent dinosaurs. Have you ever wondered where the first ever McDonald's restaurant was? Well, if you go to San Bernardino, you can see a McDonald's museum at that very location. There's some debate whether or not this is actually the site of the first McDonald's. There's also a place in Illinois that claims to be the first. But both of them are actually wrong because the first ever McDonald's was close to the Monrovia airport and later moved to this location. This is still an amazing collection of memorabilia, and even though I can't say that I have especially fond memories of McDonald's, this is a place well worth visiting. I just wish that I could forget about the time I used to work at McDonald's in Sweden while studying. I can still smell that nasty grease in my nightmares. If you're anywhere near Echo Park in LA, you need to visit the Time Traveler's Mart. It all started in, well, no one knows really, but this particular store opened in 2008. This store has everything you need for time travel, or for creative writing. I have to give a fair warning though, the store reserves the right to refuse access to all Morlocks or fantasy creatures. But Swedes are allowed at least. I guess we're not really fantasy creatures, despite the Viking heritage. More infamous, maybe. The Scum and Villainy Cantina in LA is an intergalactic bar in the middle of the scum and villainy of Hollywood. It opened in 2016 as a place for geeks of all kinds to mingle. It's intended to be a safe space for everyone who enjoys sci-fi, and that's something I definitely approve of. And it's also quite an unusual bar, even considering that it's in Hollywood. La Brea Tar Pits is a paleontological research site and museum in central LA. Most locals are extremely familiar with this museum. Schools apparently drag kids here all the time, to their dismay. But for someone from Europe, this is extremely interesting. Lots of animals have been trapped in the natural asphalt of these tar pits, so it's a treasure trove of fossils. Everything from prehistoric plants to saber-toothed tigers have been trapped here, and you can marvel at it all when you visit the museum. Venice Beach itself isn't all that unusual, but something unusual is all the healers and chakra readers and whatnot you can see here. I thought all the free Bible people were strange enough, but apparently that can be topped. Morro Bay and Morro Rock are quite spectacular, but there's something else here that's pretty unusual. You can see the Nick Howell legacy bench here. Who was Nick Howell? Well, no one you ever heard of, but apparently he was the best damn diesel mechanic in Morro Bay. This bronze sculpture is basically the bench seat from Nick's old truck. I guess it's nothing special, but it's a lovely way for Nick's friends to keep his memory alive. And I'm happy I stopped here. I wanted to compare Hearst Castle with another Cambrian landmark, the Nitwit Ridge. Both are castles built by men with unique visions, but those visions were quite different. Arthur Harold Beale was known as Captain Nitwit, and he was a garbage collector for the town of Cambria in the 1940s and 50s. He built out these terraces all by himself, and then he built this house with, well, a lot of garbage. Previously, there used to be tours of this house, but unfortunately it has been closed off now, so I can only observe it from the road. But it's still marvelous to see. A bit strange, a bit insane, but still marvelous. North of Cambria, you can find Friends of the Elephant Seal and an elephant seal rookery. They want to educate people about the elephant seal, and there are some amazing viewing platforms where you can observe these graceful and majestic creatures. So, yeah, elephant seals on land might not be the most agile or beautiful creatures, but it's still amazing to see them like this, and hear them, and smell them. Something I didn't know about elephant seals is that they sound like something in between a burp and a wet fart. And they really smell a lot, but it's still amazing to see. At Ragged Point along Highway 1, I stumbled across something pretty cool, the portal to Big Sur. The views up here are spectacular, and this is a nice way to frame it all. And to take some stupid selfies. In San Francisco's Fisherman's Wharf, you can see stuff like McGowan's Infinite Mirror Maze, which I guess is pretty unusual. But something that I thought was even more unusual and even cooler are the musical steps on the way up to the Mirror Maze. I don't know how to play anything, but it's really cool anyway. All the sea lions in the Fisherman's Wharf is probably extremely common for all the locals, but to me it's very unusual. Unusual and awesome. Awk awk on you guys. Musée Mécanique in San Francisco is completely insanely cool. It's a collection of old electronic games of all kinds. Everything from old arcade games to self-playing pianos to gypsy fortune tellers. And quite a few execution games for some reason. I don't think I've ever seen a museum quite like this, and I don't think I ever will. If you have any interest in old electronic games, then this is the place for you. And if you just want to check out something extremely cool, then this is also for you. The San Francisco Wave Organ is an acoustic sculpture that's activated by waves. The organ was created in the 1980s, and it was inspired by sounds coming from a vent pipe in Sydney. The music that's supposed to be playing is subtle, and apparently it sounds best at high tide. But all I can hear right now are some gurglings. Interestingly enough, this is unusual, but I have seen something similar before. If you're ever in Zadar in Croatia, they have something called the sea organ, and that one actually makes a lot of sound, unlike this one. Located outside the LucasArts lobby in the Letterman building, you can see a Yoda statue. It's pretty much what it says on the tin. It's a statue of Yoda. Or rather, a Yoda Fountain, I should say. And I guess I don't really have all that much more to say about this one. It's a Yoda Fountain. If you're watching the fountain, you should definitely check out the LucasArts lobby as well. It's full of amazing memorabilia. Check it out even if you're not a die-hard Star Wars fan. It's well worth it, I promise. And if you are a Star Wars nerd, I can give you a fair warning that it's not allowed to film inside. So I had to be very discreet. Shh, don't tell anyone. Chinese Camp is a village with 126 people, but it used to be a lot bigger. In the late 1800s, this was a significant gold mining town, and thousands of Chinese immigrants moved here. They were looking for good fortune on the legendary Gold Mountain. At one time, there were roughly 5,000 Chinese living here, but these days, not so much. This is the very definition of a gold rush ghost town, and if you're heading towards Yosemite, you can't miss it. There's not much to see here, but at least it makes for a very unusual stop. Wait a second, did I say that there's not much to see here? There's one thing on that sign that's not like the others. The Chinese camp store has uranium glass as well as uranium ore. So this is definitely a historical and unusual tourist attraction. I heard about Columbia State Historic Park that's on the way to Yosemite, and I felt that I just need to check it out. It's an attempt to recreate a typical gold rush town from the 1850s. And, well, there wasn't really all that much to do in a town in the 1850s. You can ride on a stagecoach, and that's probably fun if you enjoy having a sore ass. And you can pan for real gold, but yeah, don't quit your day job. I am being a bit sarcastic, and I have to admit that I got to the park 10 minutes before it closes today, so maybe there is a lot more happening earlier in the day. If you want to get away from the hustle and bustle of modern life, then yeah, this could be the place for you. As I was driving towards Death Valley, I saw a sign towards the Mojave Spaceport. Unfortunately, there's not really much to see here. No rockets being launched, no visitor center. There is a plane graveyard here, but unfortunately it's only open to the public on special tours. Still, I mean, this is a spaceport. How cool is that? As it turns out, not very cool at all. So skip this one. Don't go here. If I'm gonna show unusual tourist attractions, I can't really skip Area 51. Not the Air Force Base itself, but all the weird alien stores filled with commercialism and conspiracy theories. This is like a combination of capitalism, weird and unique, all at once. The Area 51 Alien Center and brothel is definitely worth a visit. It's filled with everything you could possibly imagine, or probably not imagine, that has to do with aliens. I think Alien Zoltar is my personal favorite. I find it pretty amusing that so many people come out here to find something out of this world. Instead, they're met with the same capitalism that you can find all over America. Now, what would a video about unusual tourist attractions be if I didn't include Las Vegas? The whole town is just a weird adult playground with everything from wedding chapels to extravagant casinos. There's entertainment and parties and tourist traps and overpriced food. It's supposed to be a city of sin and everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but at the same time it's so family-friendly and oh so touristy. It's definitely weird and there's plenty of unusual things to see here. But I feel that they're unusual in an expected way. Vegas is what you have in mind when you talk about unusual experiences. Compared to that, I hope that I found some truly unusual places to show off in this video. And I hope that you had a good time following me on this 3-week road trip. Now all that's left is for you to like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day.